Shwmai, croeso, hello and welcome to the Bluebirds Nest, Neath ar adael gleision. As exclusively revealed on the Pure West radio sports show this past Monday night, Haverfordwest County are bringing back its regular vodcast and podcast series that premiered a number of years ago. It's coming back in the format of the Bluebirds Nest, giving you further insight into the club, with interviews and conversations with members of the board, staff, academy staff, players, sponsors, partners, and the wider community. Again, giving you that experience of having a look behind closed doors at Haverfordwest County. Delighted as episode 1, none other than the chairman himself, Mr. Rob Edwards. Welcome, Rob. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Pleasure.
So the format that we've gone for, Rob, is obviously a number of general questions to begin with. Then we're going to hit you with some quick fire questions, and we're going to tail off with the predictions. So the league is just around the corner now from starting. What you think those results are going to go in the JD Cymru Premier the first week of the season. So the first question, so it's obviously grown a hell of a lot, the club, over the last 2.5, 3 years now. I think I worked it out, almost 800 days you've been in charge now, the end of May 2020. Yeah, I can imagine.
It feels every day of that.
You've transformed the club. I think there's no way, again, it's simply a completely different club to where it was back then to where it is now, with your vision and aspirations to move things forward. Perhaps a lot of people don't even realize that, again, you're doing this a lot of the time remotely from southeast London. But basically going back to that May 2020 time, or probably a number of months before that, how did it all happen? How did you get to hear about Haverfordwest County? Is there, the questions people ask me, is there a website where you can buy clubs and come into clubs on?
I don't think there is. I was literally, some friends of mine from Southeast London were looking to, they'd done well out of a previous business. I have a finance background. They were looking to get involved in a football club in sort of tier 7, 8 in the UK to have a bit of fun and see where they could get, to be honest. So we had a look at a few clubs locally, and with a finance background, I was kind of there to do a bit of due diligence to see if there's any skeletons in the closet. And they looked at one or two, and they decided to go and buy a hotel in Spain. So that the football dream was over. But there's sites you can look where businesses are kind of traded, and particularly within kind of sports, leisure, lifestyle. I just kind of subscribed to loads of these things just to see what was out there, mainly for these guys. And then this literally came up 2 years after they stopped looking, and it just came up as a professional football club for sale. I was like, just purely for entertainment value and a bit of experience to see how this stuff works. So I inquired, and if I'd have known it was Haverfordwest County from the very get-go, I've been very open about this, I would have scrolled down. And actually, it's ironic that there's the business below was actually a waste management company, and I kind of joke that there's more rubbish in this club to deal with than there would be if I took that company. But no, it was it just came up. It was literally just an inquiry. Just COVID had hit. Just open to new challenges, really. I had no intention, or there was intention. I didn't want to waste anyone's time, but there was no expectation that it would go beyond an initial conversation. Literally no expectation whatsoever. I had the conversation and kind of, I was just keen to see how far it could go, really. And I will never get an opportunity like that again. I'm sure with the way that the club has been run, particularly in the last few years, it's obviously had its tough times, but like huge amount of respect for David Hughes, and I'll always be grateful for what he done to enable me to take over. If he hadn't have put the hours in and got the club in the standing on and off the pitch that he had done, then it would not been interest to me. It wasn't a vanity project. I didn't want to put money into something just to be the chairman of a football club. Everything I wanted to do was to take it forward. And fortunately, look, football's so rare to find a club that was so well run, promoted to the Premier League. Like, it was just an absolute no-brainer to just continue this through and see how far I could go. And within a few weeks, I was hooked, and I just wanted to make sure I could do what I could do to get over the line as quickly as possible. And I think it was probably 6 weeks from start to finish. So even as a small club, there was still quite a lot to discuss, particularly the fact that I was in lockdown. I couldn't go to Haverfordwest until at least 3 months after I took over, and that kind of set the bearing then that I could run this remotely. Obviously, I love being down there. I try and get down there as much as possible, but with life in London is quite difficult to really spend too much time down there. But yeah, you build up a bit of trust with the people that are down there, and they kind of buy into what we want to do, and it sort of runs not by itself, because there's a lot of people down there that work extremely hard, but I don't necessarily need to be there for things to happen. And it seems to work. And I enjoy going down there. I enjoy being a part of it, and just being in the office and being around the stadium and the town. And it's always really productive and super busy when I get down there. But no, it was one of them things, and fell in love and just couldn't let it go.
Love it. And yeah, obviously it's a huge commitment from your part over the last, well, particularly now over the last few months with I keep describing it as a roller coaster last season. There was so many downs and then quite a few ups at the end, obviously maintaining Cymru Premier status and things like that. But it must have been quite tricky, I suppose, then. You mentioned an accountancy or accounting background. What else are you juggling aside from running a football club?
So I have a hospitality business. So I kind of left my finance background about 6-7 years ago as a career. I still do some work because obviously I need to pay the bills. Involved in a few startups, SMEs in different industries. Mainly my passion is hospitality, food, drink, travel. So most of my businesses are in that sector now, but it gives me a lot of freedom to be able to work at Haverfordwest and do things that I love alongside it. And look, myself and the board, we're all volunteers basically. There's no intention for us to ever take a penny from it. And like I think the first 18 months I felt pretty much on my own. Obviously I had David Hughes and previous people and staff that had been involved in the club for a while as kind of a sounding board, but there was no real sort of strategic resource, someone to really back me up and help out a lot. And I struggled for the first 18 months to get people on the board that were really committed. I think it sounds great that, yeah, I'd love to be on the board of a football club, but when it actually comes to doing something, it's quite hard to get people to do it. And no disrespect to the people before, they had other jobs and they did what they could, but I really needed to find people that were engaged in the club and engulfed in it as much as me and wanted to be a real part of where we wanted to get to. Unfortunately, yeah, right now I have some great people around me who work extremely hard, so it makes the job a lot easier for me now. But yeah, I don't want to back away from it. I don't want to take time away from it. I probably spend 30 hours a week working at the club. The other guys spend as much time as they can, but yeah, I love it, and I wouldn't want to be not as active as I am now. And luckily, my work now means I can be relatively flexible in terms of getting down to Haverfordwest and manage my day around the football club, whereas it probably shouldn't be. My livelihood should really come first, but yeah, it just grips you, and you want to know what's going on down there all the time. So yeah, no, it's very. We're all very active, to be honest. I'm really grateful to have good people around me and sort of buy into what we want to do.
Yeah, and I think a large part of doing this sort of vodcast and podcast series is for people to get to know the likes of, individuals on the board, Julian, Mared, people who are completely behind the scenes in a lot of this, who perhaps aren't in the public eye as much, and really finding out, their backgrounds and their what they're providing, their really valuable input. So yeah, look forward to having a chat with them in future. Bring it to the present day now then. So pre-season obviously done and dusted now this past weekend. Again, a transition period with Tony coming in, who's really settled well, having left Hull City in the Championship. The boys kicked off against Swansea, literally the first team against the Swans in that sort of behind closed doors friendly. I think that was an experience in itself for them. Lots of wins, lots of good scores too. I think a 5-1, a 6-0. An 8-0, and I think there was 2 6-1s along the way. And as we discussed prior to coming on, it was that sort of sandwich then to finish with the Swansea 23s this past weekend. Again, another tough test for a new squad, really, I suppose, with I think it's 6 new players coming in who I've met and I've seen really gelling, and you can see friendships and bonds forming in key areas on the pitch. Great to see lots of the development squad having opportunities through pre-season and things like that. So what are your thoughts, I suppose, on after this period of pre-season now, going into the season now, just in a matter of about 12 days, I think we're out from that first Carnarvon game?
Yeah, look, I think it's always difficult to gauge some of these results during pre-season. Look, Swansea gave us a pasting early doors, which you would completely expect. The £50 million striker scored 3, and they were a class above. And I think we'd had a few knocks early into pre-season, so we didn't really have a kind of a full squad out. But I think the great learning curve for a lot of the players that were on there. Look, they're a ridiculous level above us, and maybe someday it's just aspire to be a lot closer to that sort of level, but we've got a long way to go. But that was, I think, great experience for them, great experience for me to be there and watch the game and be in and around Russell Martin and his coaching team and some of these players, and just to see how we fare. Some decent tests against Cymru South opposition, and we've beat them quite comfortably. I think there's still a lot we could have done a lot better, but to win 5-1, 6-1, 6-1 against teams in the division or two below is really positive. And look, Swansea under 23s, even then, as the professional players, the striker cost £1 million, as players there that have had league experience, and you'd expect them to give us a real run around, and they did. But look, again, we'll learn a lot from that. I think Tony's come in and it'll learn a lot about the players in that short period of time. I think we're still a very young team, although we've recruited new players. You look at the ages of some of them and their experience at this level. They're still sort of early 20s. So there's still a lot for them to get up to speed on and adjust, and they'll no doubt improve working under people like Tony and Waggy this season and playing at this level. Just been unfortunate with a few knocks as well. So I think we've not had the minutes that we'd have liked for a few of the players to have, like Patton and Shepherd looking a little bit longer term, but Wilson missing some time, Henry Jones, Jazz, Dylan, just a few little knocks that meant they've not really had the sort of minutes that we'd want. But hopefully by the time we go into obviously Barry on Friday and more importantly Carnarvon on Saturday, we'll have hopefully a full squad minus those one or two that will be out a little bit longer. And look, we're probably not done on the recruitment front yet. I think there's still probably one or two that we would like to bring in. I think we lost eight or nine during the summer. I think we brought 6 in. We've promoted 1 or 2 of the youngsters. And as you said, they've had great game time and they've not let us down. Even when they played a part last season, they've not let us down. But you don't really want to put too much pressure on them straight away at the start of the season. You want to kind of build them into the squad. So we're probably still 1 or 2 away, but it's all about finding the right sort of person. We don't just want to bring bonners in for the sake of it. If we can't recruit, look, we'll be happy with what we've got. But I think we know we ideally would like to have 1 or 2 in, and that's something to work on with Tony and the coaching team and the board and see what we can do over the next sort of week or 2 before the season kicks off. We just want to make sure we're going into the season in the best shape possible, and if that means bringing in 1 or 2, whether it's unattached on permanent contracts or whether we look at someone on loan for a short time. I do think we need 1 or 2 reinforcements, but yeah, with the players coming back, I think hopefully we'll start against Carnarvon with a strong side.
Yeah, and it's an exciting season ahead, and even from the 23s game Saturday just gone, there's a real buzz. It's an exciting time, I think, going into a new season. Unfortunate with these injuries, but one particular conversation point that I found having a lot of conversations around the ground with the supporters in particular is the membership scheme that's been launched in the past few weeks. So tell us what's it all about, Rob?
Well, look, we're trying to come up with ways to take the club forward. I mean, we know European football is extremely lucrative for clubs, but there's an investment to get there, and once you get there, you still need to maintain a level of income to make sure the clubs don't fall by the wayside. You've seen it with clubs before that have qualified for Europe. They've invested heavily and they've relied on that income to come in to survive. And clubs have really struggled when that doesn't happen. So, yeah, European football is our aim, but we want to create a sustainable club consistently. So any money we generate from European football is purely to take the club forward, not to keep it alive. I wouldn't want to put that burden on the club. I took it over in a great condition, and when the day comes that I hand it over to someone else, I want to hand it back in the same position. So it's a way of, firstly, it's a revenue opportunity for the club to be able to to have that level of income to reinvest in the squad and make sure we can compete at the highest level for as long as possible. But we want to be a really fan-centric club. We want people to be extremely close to what we're doing, and we want people to know what's happening in and around the club. I think we've been really vocal in the last couple of years with our plans, visions, what we want to achieve with regards to everything that's happening within the club. I want people to know what's going on. I don't want anything to be left to the imagination, because that can create all kinds of stories that come out of a club. You see it in so many clubs in the Football League, for example. It's just a closed shop, and that's not what we want to create. So we want to give something of value. So people look at what the membership offers, and we want them to see a value in that. We also want the emotional aspect of it, and this is what the club can do in the community. Obviously, you represented really well in the documentary what the club does in the community in terms of walking football, half-time for carers, early onset dementia, food banks. I mean, extremely active, and Wyndham does a good job on that front and gets the club in the community. And it's also the kind of football fan, someone who wants to be a part of this journey and be involved in a football club and have a say in a football club. It's not often that people can really be that active in terms of knowing what's going on behind the scenes, to have their say in how the future of the club is set out. So we wanted to create something quite unique to Welsh football. We've seen it in a few other countries, particularly in Ireland. It's been done. So we took a bit of a nod to what is done in one or two clubs over there, and I hope it's something that other clubs can look at. And if we can make a success of it, then it's only going to make other clubs in this league and non-league in England far more successful, and it just creates a much more competitive league. I'd like to think that everyone involved in Welsh football wants the league to be as competitive as it can. The FAW have been vocal on that. They're not necessarily going to financially help clubs get to that point. I think in terms of knowledge, infrastructure, facilities, they're going to play their part, but it's still up to us to drive Welsh football forward. So it's a way of really engaging with fans a lot better and being able to bring them into the club on a level that has probably never been seen before in this league. But also from a financial point of view, everything gets reinvested back into the first team and helps us to achieve our goals on the pitch as well as what we want to do off the pitch. And we've been really open with what we want to achieve in the next few years, and this is a part of that. But if we can create something really unique, exclusive, and give people the opportunity to be involved at a level that they wouldn't get at any other clubs, I think it's only going to be a good thing for everyone. And like I said, if we can make a success of it. Look, it's not going to be easy, but if we can make a success of something like this and keep creating new initiatives to take the club forward in so many ways, I would love to think that other clubs will look and do the same thing. Because if we've got 12 full-time teams in the Cymru Prem, much higher budgets, higher standard of players, with being able to retain the young players that are coming through, it's just going to make the league so much more competitive and attractive to those on the outside.
Yeah, definitely. There's lots of added benefits to becoming a member as well. And if you do want to learn a bit more about that, those watching along can obviously scan the QR code that is on screen at the moment. For those of you that are listening as a podcast, head over to any of the social media channels of the club, and there's several links there taking you to the registration page of the Bluebirds membership scheme. Excellent. Thank you for all your open and honesty there, Rob. We're now going to have some quick fire off the bar questions with this one. I'm looking forward to this. Really getting to know you again, sort of outside of the football context. 20 questions in build up. My favourite one, I must say, is the last one. But firstly, favourite TV programme?
I think it's The Sopranos. It's something that I watch over and over again. I'm still engrossed in it as I was the first time. So yeah, I'm a massive The Sopranos fan. Okay.
Favourite film?
Shawshank Redemption. An accountant. It's got to be something to do with an accountant, isn't it? Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, I must admit that would be my answer to that question. Favourite band?
I've got just such a crap taste in music. I'm a big country music fan, so I'm going to say the Eagles.
Okay. Favorite drink? Now I'm going to split this question. Favorite non-alcoholic, and then we go on to favorite alcoholic.
Dr. Pepper, and it has to be champagne.
Nice.
Not together,
nice.
obviously. Yeah, but yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting one. Interesting one. What's next on your bucket list?
I'm going to the Maldives next year. That's somewhere I've always wanted to go.
Nice. On one of those cabins in the middle of the water.
Yeah, I think you got to do it properly when you go somewhere like that. Yeah.
Excellent. Look forward to seeing the pictures of that. Now, this is probably, you're going to answer both. Early bird or night owl?
I'm a bit like Maggie Thatcher. I don't really need much sleep, to be honest. So I'm kind of, I'd like to think I'm last at the party and then first in the office. So I'd probably say both.
I suppose you've got to be as a chairman of a football club.
So yeah, I kind of do my best work at sort of the hours between midnight and 2 a.m. in the morning.
Love it. Favorite holiday destination?
Probably Vietnam.
Interesting. Okay.
Amazing food, amazing people.
Okay. Other sports, and I think I know the answer to this. Other sports you enjoy or participate in?
I like Formula One. Like a bit of tennis. I play a bit of golf. Well, I'm trying to get into golf. I wouldn't say I play golf. I have clubs and I partake in sport. But yeah, I need to get a lot better than that. But yeah, golf is my new active hobby.
Okay, I thought you were going to say horse racing. Oh
yeah, that's it. Yeah, to be honest, it's I don't really get to do it as much as I'd like to these days. But yeah, no, I watch anything, to be honest, when it comes to sport. But yeah, golf is my new thing.
Way back when, your favourite and your least favourite school subject?
Least favourite school subject? Probably science. I'm quite a sort of practical person. I'm not really into the theory and the kind of over analytical side of it. So I always struggled with science. I've never once in my life someone had a gun to my head and said, open up this frog or connect this plug socket. So yeah, science I hated.
And I'm assuming maths is your favourite?
Actually, no, I wasn't really a big fan of that. Geography was my my favourite subject at school. I think because it's the travel element of it and knowing where places are and that kind of thing. So yeah, I'd say geography.
Okay. Dead or alive, a meal with anyone, who would it be?
Anthony Bourdain. Not sure many people know who he is, but yeah, he's a very famous travel and food writer, blogger, enthusiast, and yeah, just such a character. I'd love to have heard his stories.
Okay, I'm glad you clarified. I was nodding as if I knew exactly who it was. Didn't have a clue.
Yeah, no, Google him. He sadly passed away a few years ago, but yeah, just an absolute riot.
This is going to be an interesting one. Nickname?
I have a few. I was called Cat in my younger days because I was quite an agile goalkeeper. I say much younger. And my stepdad called me Dolly. I don't really know why. That kind of stuck at school for a long time when he shouted out the window, "Goodbye, Dolly." That kind of made its way around the playground. But yeah, I'm not really sure why. But yeah, Dolly or Cat generally.
Okay. What's your pizza toppings?
Ooh. Do you know, I like a calabrese, so I'm going to go Nduja. I do love a bit of a spicy pizza.
Okay. Last one of the general ones. What winds you up? What frustrates you?
Noisy people. I think I'm going to say Americans. I can't really generalize, but yeah, I'm going to say noisy people. I think I'm quite a calm, quiet person. I like peace and quiet. I like when I'm at home, I need like blissful silence to be able to sleep. So yeah, just excessively unnecessarily noisy people / Americans.
There you go. So there goes the Bluebirds American preseason tour.
Yeah, if there's any American fans out there, please join our membership. You'll have a really into the club going forward.
Well, it's up to them to convince you now to change your mind. Right. 5 football ones now then. Your first football kit, and what was the name on the back?
First football kit was a Leyton Orient kit, and it had Darren Purse on the back.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, Orient legend, yeah.
Of Cardiff City now, I believe.
Cardiff City, he's the under-23s, under-21s manager. Played for Birmingham for a long time. I think he won the League Cup at Birmingham. But yeah, he started his career at Orient, so he was one of my first favourite players.
Okay. In your opinion alone, your greatest ever footballer?
probably not the standard, but I used to love watching Van Nistelrooy. I just thought his movement. I don't think there was a striker like him out there. You can look at Ronaldo's and Raul and these kind of people, but I just think sheer instinct, Van Nistelrooy. I just love watching him.
Fair enough. Your pre-match rituals, well, be it at home or at the games?
Generally, just sweating a lot through nerves. Yeah, I'm not really a superstitious person. I like to like when I'm at games, I like to sit in a certain spot in the first half and then move to a different spot in the second half, and then a few minutes before the end, I like to stand near the tunnel. When I'm watching at home, it generally just involves pacing around, waiting for Tom to update Twitter or flash scores to tell me what's going on.
Fantastic. Okay, now obviously 2.5 years, no, less than that. Obviously, with the pandemic, you wouldn't have been to as many grounds, perhaps, as most Welsh ground hoppers. But what's your favourite away ground in the Welsh Pyramid?
I like Newtown. I think you got the sense, like, obviously a few more stands in there. It's not too far for us to get to. I like Newtown. I think there's just a nice sort of proper football stadium. Aberystwyth also is really nice, great area as well. Probably shouldn't say that as our rivals, but I enjoy it. Aberystwyth was actually the first stadium that I went to in a friendly. We played them. It was actually the first game that I saw live, and I think we beat them 2-1. I actually managed Twitter that day, and I've not been allowed to use it again since.
I remember fondly in pandemic days. I remember following along that day, and I think you had some a good bit of banter, should we say that?
Yeah, there was a few went down pretty well, and I enjoyed myself. But yeah, Ab was pretty good. But yeah, I'd say I like Newtown. I'd say is my favorite.
Latham Park is a good ground, and it's like you say, it's not too far for us to travel up, and it's a unique ground, obviously with a variety of different stadium sections, but no, certainly a good one.
Yeah.
Good up. Now then, your favourite moment since your arrival at the club. Is there a standout moment?
There'd be a few. I'd say, obviously, TNS at home was just a massive victory. I think Airbus stands in my memory away, although look, we beat a club in the league below us. But I think with what we were going through then was such a difficult time with injuries. I think Yuri came on after about 10 minutes, and we looked at the bench. There was 2 keepers and 2 17-year-olds, but we came from behind to beat a team that was really flying at that point. But I'd say that the best one was the first victory, Bala, especially winning as we did last minute. We just went absolutely ballistic, and I think we cleaned a co-op out on the way back as well in terms of having a good drink on the way. Well, I did anyway. But yeah, I think a few good times. But I think Bala was the first win was always going to be a bit special. But the fact we beat a team like Bala away from home, coming from 1 down, scoring the last minute, kind of everything was teed up just such a great day by the way it finished. So I'd say Bala away is my best moment.
The iconic commentary that's almost followed Willie around ever since, I think, just makes that more, definitely.
I reckon he plays that on loop in his
yeah. A dream team we're looking at now then. So it's not necessarily the 5 best players you've seen at the club, but 5, and it can be for any reason, but we need to know those reasons. Your 5 players who you would pick, who've represented the club, and that could be, I suppose, staff or player capacity. Just
during my time, or that I know of through the club's history.
Yeah, let's go your era.
Oof. Goalkeepers. I'd probably say Matt Turner. I think, although he was not our keeper. I think from when he came in to where he left, and obviously where he's gone on to, I think he's going to have a good career in football.
Yeah,
it's so easy. I mean, so I feel really it's like picking your favorite children. I think it's really difficult trying to pick players that you've worked with. But I think I think just through how he improved and how he grew in that short space of time, I'd say Matt Turner. Obviously Jazz. You can't. I mean, he's probably the best player the club's ever had. I think Dan Summerfield.
Okay.
I think just a Gary Neville. Just 7 out of 10 every. I would say so. 7 out of 10 every week. Gave his all. Oh, it's really difficult. Who would the other 2 be? I'm not going to say Jordan because he'll just never stop talking about it. So I'm going to leave Jordan out. I think Jack's just a bit of an enigma. You never really know what he's going to do.
On or off the pitch.
On or off the pitch.
Those Crocs, God, yeah. The less said about his Crocs, the better.
He needs some help, that boy. I think you obviously need a bit of a showman in there, so I'll probably put Henry in there as well because he's got the technical ability. You can probably leave a few for dead in a five-a-side pitch. So no, it's so difficult to pick, but those are the five that would.
Some five-a-side team. That's
I think it'd be pretty good. Yeah, I think it'd be pretty good.
Awesome, thank you. Final thing now, and this is completely magpied from Mark Lawrenson. I think he's retired now, so we'll pick up the mantle from him and the BBC's predictions sort of format. And this is something we're hoping to carry on throughout the season. Hopefully, those listening and watching along can get involved in this across the social media as well. But we're going to look forward to the next round of Cymru Premier fixtures each week or each episode that we run. And we're looking for win, lose, draw sort of scenarios. And kicking off the season this year is a Friday night fixture. Abus back in the Cymru Premier at home to Aberystwyth, Rob. Where's the result going?
I think we've got to put this as a draw. I think Airbus obviously won the league really comfortably last year, but I don't think they've had some great pre-season results. As with Aberystwyth, obviously had a lot of outgoings. I think that's going to be a draw.
Okay, yeah, I'd probably say the same. Score draw, I think, up there. The Saturday then, there's 5 fixtures, I believe. Cardiff Met, Connah's Quay.
I think you look at Connah's Quay. I think they've got a point to prove this season. I think they've recruited well. Harry Franklin, also the goalkeeper from Rangers, Andy Firth. I think they'll be a force again this year. So I think Connah's Quay will start well.
Okay, yeah, I've got to back you there. That's the way I was going to. Now, this is a big one to begin with because I think they've both had their seasons of a number of weeks already after their European adventures. Newtown at home to TNS.
Yeah, I think a tough start for both, to be honest. Obviously, TNS without a manager, you don't really know what's gone on there. I think TNS will find it tough there, but I think they'll probably just about have enough. I think it'll be a narrow TNS victory, I'd say. Okay.
I'm gonna stay on the fence with this, and I'm going draw. I think Newtown are gonna have a really positive season. I believe it's the live game. Pontypridd new into the Cymru Premier at home to Flint.
I think Pontypridd have recruited well, to be honest. Clayton Green, obviously a few of our players as well. Danny Williams, Kieran Lewis, Curtis Rees. Ashley Morris from Penybont as well, experienced keeper. Flint, obviously a lot of outgoings as well. I think Pontypridd will probably be comfortably stay up this year. So I think they'll start well. I'll back them to win the first game. Yeah,
I'm gonna again purely for the old boys who've joined Pontypridd. They can win as many games as they like, just not against us. So exactly. Yeah, I'll go Pontypridd home win. Penybont and Bala.
You kind of wonder with Penybont. I think they've had 2 good seasons, but they've never really got to the sort of the nitty gritty of it. They're just a consistent team, and they just grind out results. I think that'll probably be a narrow away win as well.
Okay, I'm going draw with that one. I fancy them to get something. I think it was Bala. They went away with largely a very youthful team at the end of the season. I think it'll be hopefully a different story for Penybont that time. And finally, last but not least, Haverfordwest County, Caernarfon, 13th of August, live at the Oggy Bridge Meadow. Where are we going?
I think we're looking at the season. I think we have to start well. We've not started well in the first 2 seasons. I think picking up a point from your first 4 or 5 games, it's just not enough. I think you look at the table after 5 games, it just tends to be not much different to what you look at in game 22 when the split comes. It just that middle bit. You look at game 22 and you think, Jesus, where have those other 20 games gone? It just literally flies through. But I think we're in good shape. Obviously, difficult game at the weekend, but I think there's enough there that we can start the season really well. So got to go for a home win. I'll take a 89th minute deflection if that's the way it is. But yeah, I think we'll start well.
Okay, yeah, I'm going home win as well. Hopefully not a nail biter. Hopefully. Couple of goals early doors and then shut shop then. and take the 3 points to begin. Again, like you said, to start strongly would be a refreshing change from the last number of seasons. Excellent. And that almost brings us to a close then. Again, as you can see on the screen, the QR code and link to the membership scheme that Rob spoke about earlier on. And again, for those listening in on the podcast, head to the social media channels where you'll be able to sign up to the Bluebirds membership scheme. Rob, thank you for your time. Appreciate you're a very busy man. And we look forward to seeing you on the 13th, the first league game for the Cymru Premier with Carnarvon visiting. But before that, if you are listening in the first 2 days of this being live, we are home to Barrytown United in the Nathaniel MG Cup Friday night, this Friday, the 5th of August. Look forward to seeing you all at the Oggy Bridge Meadow for that. Rob, thank you, and we'll see you all again soon.
Pleasure.